Overland Everyday Carry. I'm going to show you what I keep in my vehicle, and I want to hear in the comments below what you keep in yours.
So this is my EDC rig for my vehicle. I have materials in here to be able to sleep. I have shelter that I can make quickly. I have tools that I can build a little bit longer term shelter if I need to. I have all my recovery gear. I have the ability to cook. I have some pocket stoves and things like that in there if I can't get a fire going. A couple of MREs. I carry this stuff with me all the time, every day. And like I said, if I get the wild hair or occasionally get a chance to go out for a last minute camp, I'm ready to do it. All I have to do is stop by the grocery store, because who wants to eat MREs unless they have to, and head out onto the trail.
Okay, so I have everything out of my vehicle, and I want to go through with you each item that I have and kind of tell you a little bit about what it does. Starting over here, I have my sleeping bag that I like to keep. This is a Lamilite filled Wiggys brand, W-I-G-G-I-E-S sleeping bag, and I have to tell you, I've slept in a lot of sleeping bags, and I know this is a very contentious issue and everybody has their opinions, but this is the best sleeping bag I have ever had. I've had it for 15 years. I use it all the time, and it still looks as good as the day I bought it. Wiggys is a great company. Their customer service is wonderful. Would highly recommend it. I have two pillows, one inflatable and one non-inflatable, but is very compactable. This is actually a backpacking pillow, but I like having two pillows. And this one from Kilos Gear is a great one. It's very comfortable for an inflatable pillow. And then of course, Sea to Summit makes this one, and that they're just a great company. Moving along for cooking, over here I like to carry this aluminum Dutch oven. It has all the functionality of a traditional Dutch oven, but it is way lighter. So it's great to have this. But unfortunately, I do have a slight addiction to cast iron, so I also carry a cast iron pan. This is a new one. I haven't really had a chance to use it yet, but I'm hoping it'll become my new staple. And then of course, I always carry a couple small plates. Here I have my tool kit. So this main tool kit is the Overland Tool Kit, the King of Hammers tool kit by Boxo. We'll do a video about everything that's in this kit another time, but Boxo is a great company. They make a lot of tool rolls that come with the tools, and their tools are very high quality. They're wonderful. It's not a cheap tool roll with cheap tools in it, or an expensive tool roll with cheap tools in it. You're getting quality both of the bag and of the tools. So then of course I have my air tool for deflating my tires, and then a product called Fix-It Sticks that I've just recently stumbled onto. It's a set of ratchets that uses a T-handle tool. It's great for getting into all sorts of odd angles and things. Over here I have a tarp made by Texas Bushcraft. Inside the bag is both the tarp, and I put a lot of different lengths and different colors of paracord. So at this point in time, I don't have a rooftop tent. I do use a ground tent, and I do a lot of my cooking and everything obviously on the ground. If it's raining, I can string that up between a few trees and have cover over my vehicle, over the back of my vehicle, where I might do my cooking, things like that, if I need to do something quick. I also carry just a couple of packets of emergency food. These are just emergency food rations, 3,600 calories in the package. They taste decent, but they will keep you alive if you need them. Because this is more of my camping setup, less emergency, more just general camping, I like to carry a lot of fire starters. So you'll see it in various places as I go through the list, but I carry a bag of fat wood. This is the center of a pine log. It has a lot of natural oil in it that make it very flammable, very good to start fires with. I like to carry two different kinds of knives. Both of them are full tang knives, meaning that the metal within the handle goes all the way through to the blade, or the blade goes all the way through the handle to the back. That makes the knife more rigid, more stable, heavier. But I use a lot of these. A little bit heavier of a knife. This K-bar knife is something, it's a little overkill. It's a big, thick knife, as you can see right there. but you can use it for batoning, you can make kindling with it, you can do a lot of different things with it. As where for more nuanced work, just a general bushcraft knife like this one that I have made by Condor is a good just all-purpose camp utility knife. I like to carry a pair of binoculars with me just so I can look at wildlife, see if I can see the trail up ahead, anything you need binoculars for. And these are made by Nocs, N-O-C-S. They have a rubberized outer shell. My kids have had their hands on these many times and they still work, if that tells you anything. One of the best things I like both about just camping or an emergency situation, if you find yourself in one, that I like to be prepared for is the ability to procure food, because these are great, but you can't live off of them very long. That's why I like to carry flies and my fly rod. This is the Pescador on the fly, made by El Jefe, and this is basically a travel fly rod. It is the best quality travel fly rod that I've ever found. It works really well. It pairs nice with my Reddington reels, or I'm sorry, my Collins reels, I guess. But having a means to catch fish, whether you're a fly fisherman or a traditional spin cast or gill netting or whatever you like, have some way to procure food, both for your camping adventure and for an emergency situation. You'll see a lot of woodworking equipment that I have that I keep in my vehicle. A lot of saws, a lot of axes, things like that. What you can't use a saw for in terms of clearing the trail, if a tree's falling across it or things like that, can be used in construction. So if you need to build some furniture for your camp, a table or a shelter or something like that, having some of these tools that I'm going to go over is essential. And one of the starting places is the pocket saw. This is a Nordic Pocket Saw. I just bought it off of Amazon, and it is a small chainsaw with a chainsaw chain on it that you can use to cut larger pieces of wood. Here I have my solar panel by Nest Out. That goes well with all of my batteries, but my Nest Out battery and light here. This solar panel will comfortably and easily charge that battery to full charge within a couple of hours. So it's a very nice, very high-powered solar panel to have, and it'll charge your devices quickly. I also carry a couple of extra things in here. An extra Nest Out battery, an extra light for the Nest Out, some charging cables, and then of course the charging ports for the solar panel are inside this little pocket as well. Moving on, I have my forest axe. I have my hatchet, this is a new hatchet. I broke the handle on my old one, and so I decided to spring for this Gransford Brook hatchet, which I love. It's the same company that made my forest axe that I've had for a long time. Very well made, very light, good quality steel. Between these two pieces, my Nordic Pocket's a collapsible bow saw, a limb saw, and this small auger. Basically, either in an overlanding situation or in an emergency situation, you'll be able to build anything you need. If it's bad weather and you need a stouter shelter than just what your tent can offer, or a tarp, using this auger and drilling some holes in some pieces of wood and using wooden pins to hold the structure together, you can really do a lot with just some simple tools. So make sure that your kit includes tools that have, again, multiple uses. So I can use any of these things to clear the trail off if there's a tree across it, or I can use it for some sort of life-saving advantage if I'm in an emergency situation. Next, I have my Leatherman Super Tool. A lot of Leathermans out there, a lot of advantages, disadvantages to each kind. This Super Tool 300 is, in my mind, just the most robust Leatherman there is out there. It's big, it's chunky, has a lot of good tools on it, doesn't have a lot of specialty tools. In another video about my personal survival kit, I talked about the Leatherman Signal that has a ferro rod and some other survival type features to it. This is strictly just a multi-tool, but it does that perfectly. Here I have my personal defense weapon. It is a Springfield XD 40. I was a former police officer. Personal safety is just something I value either for myself or anybody else who needs it out on the trail. It's a weird world. You don't know who's around the next corner. However, if you do not have formal military or law enforcement or some other certified training to handle firearms, don't take it with you. Firearms can get you in far more trouble than they can get you out of if you are not properly trained to know how to use them. Next, I have just a few comfort items. It's just a piece of cloth, and for anybody who's ever read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if you know where your towel is, you generally are a well put together person. And the towel in this case is this shmog. It's great. You can wrap it around your head. You can use it for a pillow. You can use it for an arm sling, for first aid. Really the options are limitless. And then here I just have the end of a Thermarest sleeping pad. My dog helpfully chewed up the other end that is no longer there. But I like to bring this, I use it a lot for backpacking, just as a seat, a quick light seat that I can carry. But in overlanding, it's great for kneeling on when you're working on your vehicle. A lot of the places where we have to do that sort of thing, rocky, uneven ground, not very comfortable on the knees. And for us older guys, just having these little creature comforts really can make a big difference. First aid. I carry a first aid kit, which I put together myself, and a casualty blanket. More on the first aid kit in another video, but for now, obviously, 2 aspects of first aid that you want to make sure you have covered on your trip are your supplies and your training. Training is the most important. Go take some first aid courses. Go take wilderness first aid, or at the bare minimum, first aid and CPR. Because again, we're on our own when we're out on these trails, and we need to be able to take care of ourselves and our people and our community out there on the trail as best we can, and knowledge is the best way to do that. Here I have my recovery kit. This is just my basic recovery kit that I carry every day. I'll link a video that we did unboxing and going through the items in my recovery kit below, so please click on that if you're interested in building your own recovery kit. But again, as I said in the video, this is just the basics. If I'm going to a more technical place or something that requires a little more heavy lifting, I'm going to adapt my kit for that. Moving along to one of the most important aspects of camping, how you prepare your morning coffee. We have a video about that as well, but I carry a small cup to act as a pot, a drip coffee device made by Stanley, some local coffee that I got here and really like. Then my jet boil, my water filter, my Katahdin pocket water filter, some Snow Peak stuff that has just some extra cups if I have some people with me who didn't bring a cup, or I also carry a set of playing cards in here, some extra cleaning cloths, spare lighter. Just there's no reason to have an empty cup floating around in your overland rig. You might as well fill it with a couple of things that you might need. And then I have a Bushcraft edition, or Bushcraft Essentials wood stove. This is a collapsible wood stove. It's actually big enough to be able to hold the Dutch oven or the pan. I like having this. If my gas stove is on the fritz or whatever, I still can make a fire with wood. Water bottles. I keep this filled with water all the time. I change it about every 6 months or so, but it's treated chlorinated water. I like the Clean Canteen brand because, again, multiple uses for everything. When it comes to water filtration or water treatment, you want to bring a water filter or water treating system, but plan on it not working at some point. I like the Clean Canteen product because it is a single-walled aluminum body. It does not have multiple layers and insulation in the middle, meaning you can boil water directly in the bottle. Of course, assuming that you have removed the lid. But that's a really nice feature that if you're left with nothing else in here, at least if I just have my water bottle, I can boil some water. Not a pleasant discussion, but being that bathroom features are a universal thing that all of us have to deal with, I always keep this glass jar. It goes in my tent. I'm sure you know what I use it for. If anything more urgent or pressing comes up, obviously I'll run out of the tent, but at least if I just need to have a simple tinkle, I've got my jar here to help get me through. I have a candle. This is something I got more for the benefit of my wife and I to use, to have together when we're out on the trail, because it makes just a very simple little candle light. Doesn't use a whole lot of fuel. Doesn't have much of a practical purpose, but not everything that we bring with us has to be practical. This just has a nice little ambiance that I like. Here is a small little air pump for my air mattress. I use just an inflatable backpacking air mattress. This one's insulated, so since it's winter time right now, keeps you a little warmer on the bottom. Remember, sleeping directly on the ground in the winter or otherwise not having insulation between you and the ground is a really good way to end up with hypothermia, because the ground is a good conductor of heat, and every bit that's in you is going to go straight into the ground and you're going to be very cold. So use a seasonally appropriate mattress and make sure to bring an air pump so you're not stuck having to blow it up manually. And then lastly, this is a new tool that I have made by Hardcore Tools. It's a hardcore hammer. It replaces an older Pulaski axe that I had. And this is a really great design of a tool, and I'm really looking forward to getting out and trying it this spring. But it has a digging tool on the back. So the axe part is actually designed to use with like roots and things like that, but this is more of a digging tool than a wood tool. So if you're having to make any kind of modifications to the trail to allow ground clearance, dig out a rock that's going to hang up your differential or whatever, having a Pulaski of some kind, doesn't have to be the hardcore hammer kind, is a very, very useful tool to have. Something that digs on one side and cuts on the other. Okay, that's it. That is my Overland EDC kit. This is what I carry in my vehicle every day, and I want to hear what you carry in yours. Please leave a comment below and let us know what you got. Thanks, and we'll see you on the trail.